We start in the Middle East, and in a statement issued this morning, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defence Minister Israel Katz confirmed the Israeli Defence Forces have launched a major operation in the Gaza Strip. This comes after Hamas repeatedly refused to release Israeli hostages and rejected peace proposals from US envoy Steve Witkoff and other mediators. The IDF is targeting key Hamas positions throughout Gaza with the aim of securing the release of all hostages, both dead and alive. Military officials say the operation will intensify as Israel seeks to bring an end to the ongoing crisis. Meanwhile, the death toll from Israeli airstrikes on Gaza has risen to at least 330, with many victims being women, children and the elderly. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency confirms the devastating toll as Israel's military operation continues. Let's listen to what the director of the Gaza hospitals had to say.
ارتكب عدة مجازر في جميع مناطق قطاع غزة، وصل ما يزيد عن 200 شهيد إلى مستشفيات القطاع، والمئات من الجرحى بإصابات بالغة من الكسور والحروق وإصابات الرأس، والتي تحتاج إلى تدخل جراحي عاجل. هذه المجازر ارتكبت في
Well, Israel's overnight airstrikes on Gaza have also reportedly killed General Mahmoud Abu Watfa, the head of Hamas's interior ministry. Two sources within Hamas confirmed his death, saying Abu Watfa, who oversaw Hamas's police and internal security, was killed in Gaza City. This marks a significant conflict between Israel and Hamas. An Israeli official stated the offensive, targeting Hamas leadership and infrastructure, will last as long as necessary. Let's listen in to what Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon has said.
The Israeli Air Force initiated a series of attacks against Hamas targets in Gaza. We will show no mercy on our enemies. Let me be very clear. Israel will not stop until all of our hostages are back home. We will make it very clear to the Security Council that if they want to stop the war in Gaza, they have to ensure that the hostages are coming back to Israel.
Meanwhile, Hamas accuses Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement after Israel launched heavy strikes early on Tuesday. Israel's government says these attacks are in response to Hamas's refusal to release hostages, despite multiple ceasefire proposals. Well, joining us to discuss this update is our colleague Vineet Malhotra. Vineet, thank you very much for joining us today. What more can you tell us about what we've seen take place in the Gaza Strip over the last 24 hours?
Well, Josh, of course, what's happened in the last 24 to 48 hours has been extremely worrying, not only for the Middle East, but the world as well. As we all know, the origins of this discord or this war or battle escalating to the previous level is a resultant of the failed negotiations and the ceasefire which took place in January. There were some contentions about Israel demanding something from Gaza in terms of and the prisoners that they have kept for the last few months intact, whereas Gaza and the Hamas team that was negotiating with the Israelis and the Israeli Defense Forces had other ideas. So on paper, something else was promised according to Israel, and what was delivered was something else. All this led to hostilities being reignited, and Israel went back to the drawing board and decided to up the ante the way it was after October the 7th, 2023. In all of this, according to the health ministry in Gaza, more than 300 people have died. And Josh, their social media is strewn with pictures of children and kids who have died out of these bombings that have been escalated by Israel in the last few hours. But Israel is of the opinion that most of these pictures are old. They've also gone on to say that Hamas is hiding beneath these hospitals and tunnels that they have tried to penetrate but have not been able to. So that's another reason why the IDF has gone on to say that they will be unleashing the ground force once again. They had temporarily withdrawn some of these forces, but the action is back on ground. In fact, Israel has also gone on to say that they will be giving 8 to 10 hour windows to all people and towards places where they will be launching these attacks. So in a way, the Israelis are trying to immunize themselves by even speaking with the Americans and saying that we got a green signal from the Americans, who in fact were part of these, brokerage deals and parties that led to this talk of ceasefire, which never resulted in anything positive either for Hamas or Israel. Now, the big point is going to be whether Hamas is going. Are they in fact going to fight back, or are they going to continue to lose their civilians? Is going to create an outpouring of sympathies once again in the Gaza Strip towards Hamas, as well as their associates, and defending their land in Palestine. But the fact of the matter is, live up to its own word, and that is why we have seen this escalation.
Vineet, consulting editor, thank you very much for your insight. We stay in the Middle East.